Hello and welcome everyone to a new episode of Score Sheet. I'm gonna promise that all our episodes, especially in the holy month of Ramadan, are going to be that special. Happy Ramadan to all our dear viewers all over the globe. I had the honor to have him before, and I had the honor to say that he is one of our colleagues. To be accurate, one of the most important and skillful DOPs we do have. But on the other hand, he has another hat to wear. Let me first welcome my dear guest live here in the studio, Ahmed Abdelaziz. Ahmed, thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you very much, Nermeen, for the invitation, for this really very kind invitation, and also for giving me the opportunity to say Ramadan Kareem
yes,
for all the Muslims around the world and all the world actually for this great month.
Ahmed, to whom it might concern, and for those who were not with us, would you please tell us what exactly you are in the field of tennis, as you are just among 3 or 4 Egyptians who are occupying this position?
Well, I'm in tennis. I'm an international tennis chair umpire, and also I'm an international referee, tennis referee. Like the one. Well, it's different hat as well.
Yeah.
Like it's the one who is responsible for forcing the officiating rules and regulations, actually on and off court as well.
Yeah. Have you imagined ever, Ahmed, that this is going to be one of your professional careers you have?
To be honest, no.
Okay.
But you know, some moments in your life can be like a big turnover, changing you from what you do in one moment to absolutely 180 degrees different directions.
Yeah. As we are in the holy month of Ramadan, we are going to focus first on your memories in Ramadan and with tennis. It's going to be that difficult to be just having this kind of focusing and concentration while you're fasting. Tell us first about your first trip in Ramadan practicing tennis as a referee.
Well, you know, Ramadan for us, it's very special moment.
Yeah.
And really, we don't want to miss any day without fasting, whatever is the reason. And sometimes we get a lot of fatwas and opinions that, oh no, now you can, when you're traveling, you can break fast.
Break fasting,
yeah,
yes.
But still, we don't really, we don't feel comfortable with this. So, well, I have a lot of moments in Ramadan in officiating on court and off court, and always it's good moment. It's a very good challenge for me, and Ramadan itself, it's a challenge that you're trying to quit doing a lot of things in your life and try to do things to those,
fasting
like
is
spirituality.
self-restraint. I mean, it's not only about not to eat or not to drink. It's about to be that calm, this spiritual atmosphere of the holy month of Ramadan. So if you do have any nice situations you have lived in the holy month of Ramadan, but when it comes to tennis, not to being a director of photography.
I remember once I was doing, I was in India, and I was doing a match, and it was actually really a very long match. So, like during the match, after maybe like 2 hours of the time of the match, and I have seen the sun is getting down, and I said, okay, now it's a good time to have something. So in tennis that the players they eat and drink during the match to recover, and so I was trying to do the same. And so there was one of our seniors, umpire, who was watching the match, and he called me on the radio. So he saw me, I was having some dates with me, and I had some drink from the players' fridge. And he called me on the radio at the changeover, at the time of the break. I said, would you like a burger as well? So I still really remember this, because I was laughing a lot on court, and the players, they were wondering what was going on. Because I was eating and then laughing, and one of the players, he asked me, I said, well, actually I was fasting, so now I'm eating. But I mean, concentration wise, it's mental, you know. If you make yourself stronger.
This was to be my coming question. Is it a kind of getting used to do the same mission every time, so it's easier, or in every time it's another story? I mean, some would say, even the player themselves would say, that every match is a competition in itself, and every tournament should be considered as the tournament of my life. Is it the same with the referees, or those out of the pitch?
Yes, I think well, as you said, it's every match is a different battle. It's like you need to keep yourself in your most focusing status. You need to be really concentrating on every single point. And even we have, for ourselves, we have a saying very common between all the officials, that we say the most important call is the next call. So whatever happened, that you need to keep yourself mentally stronger than the moment before, and just think about what's coming, because in a fraction of a second, you need to maybe you need to make the most important decision in the match. So we need to be prepared.
Mentally.
Yes.
Mental fitness. You know, this is one of the most, I think it's one of the most important issues to differentiate between an athlete and the other in whatever sport. It's
actually, we call it mental toughness, like you need
both
to be,
of them, by the way. And because of this, when I'm looking at Serena Williams, for example, and I see how much she's that fit all the time, and she's, for me, the unstoppable.
and gentlemen, your 2012 U.S. Open Women's Singles Champion, the great Serena Williams.
I all the time think about her mental toughness, just hand in hand with her physical one. And as we are shooting this while the French Open is taking place, a lot of surprises are taking place. And for me, withdrawing because of injury, I don't know. I'm not going to mention names because I know that you should not comment on players in name.
Right.
But I mean, is it normal, or is it just an excuse not to be included into the tournament because I'm not in form in the moment?
Well, I think for me, the Grand Slams is a dream for everyone.
Yeah.
From starting from number 1 till number 2,000, 3,000 in the world. Mm-hmm. Everyone wants to be in the Grand Slams, even when they're injured. And it's really, I think it's for every player, it's very special tournaments, mm-hmm. the 4 Grand Slams. So, well, in my opinion, I think that any player when they make a withdrawal from any of the Grand Slam tournaments,
and it's a tough decision.
They really have to go to this moment.
Yeah.
There's no other option for them.
Since I know that we are not going to mention the current names, we can mention the former names. Were you a fan of BB or Lendl, for example? Which is which?
Both.
Both?
Both players. I mean, they're legends. I mean, I remember when I was a kid, I was watching them just to see what's going on court. It was like, was really very enjoyable.
I was just watching Ivan Lendl just to see him smiling for once. But it didn't happen, even after achieving a Grand Slam title. He was amazing.
Once they've asked Ivan like, why you don't smile on court, and his answer was like, what's on court make me smiling?
Achieving, success, a good play, the cheer of people, the British people, but Andy Murray is not the same.
I was born in Czechoslovakia, in a quite big town for Czechoslovakia called Ostrava. It used to have about 350,000 to 400,000 people. It's in the middle section of Moravia, north of it, very close to Polish border. It's a very industrial city, heavy industry, coal mines, metallurgical works, and the pollution over there is quite heavy.
Ivan grew up in this apartment house, which lies in easy walking distance from the tennis courts of the club that Lendl still belongs to.
I started playing tennis in Ostrava, in my parents' club where they belong to. My mother used to play on the team. My father was on the board of the club, and he was captain of the tennis team at the time. As every young boy or kid, I always had my dreams, and we would watch a Davis Cup match, and after we would go and play, and one was the opposing player, the other one was hometown or home team player. Then we would watch Wimbledon, and somebody would be Laver, next would be Newcomb or Roach or Oswald, and we had a lot of fun that way, and kept our dreams going, and at the same time we became better players by watching and then trying what we saw on TV.
A question on Ivan Lendl, if it's quite sufficient for him just for his happiness to play tennis?
In 1980, Czechoslovakia won the Davis Cup, beating Italy in the finals 4-1. It was carried through the contest by Ivan Lendl, who was just completing his military service.
Returning back to tennis and to what's going on these days, I don't know if this is normal or this happened before. Would you please forgive my ignorance? As I found that a lot of surprises are taking place. I mean, number 100 and something to beat one of the top 20, for example. And this is taking place repeatedly these days. How do you see this?
Well, apparently these days it's like the days of the new generations. You can see that there are new bloods in tennis at the moment, in women's tennis and men's tennis. In men's tennis is even more
yes.
difficult to have. But as you see, we have very young guys that they are taking place now, making big progress in their career, and I think we're having at the moment, like in the top 100, is about maybe between 10 and 13 to 14 players, like they are under 20.
Under 20,
yeah,
yes.
Which is very remarkable at the moment. So, and I think this is very good for tennis. It makes the challenge bigger for those youngsters, and at the same time for the top 20 players, that they are showing their best, in the matches, because they know that at any moment, I can lose the match. So they need to be always consistent, which is I think is very good for the audience, for all the fans to see better tennis.
But a lot of pressure. I mean, a lot of pressure, and in the same time, a lot of responsibility. When I am all the time expecting that you are going to do better than the one before, and in the same time you are going to meet with a legend of tennis. Don't you think that the psychic issue can play a role here, Ahmed?
Well, for me, I think this is what we need in tennis.
Okay.
When this is the joy. This is the how do you enjoy watching tennis? That when there is more pressure, when there is more hard work is going on court, and when you don't have expectation. I mean, when I'm watching the match and I expect that, okay, I know that X player is going to win. Okay, you're watching some good points, but you're losing the excitement.
Yeah.
But at this stage, as you said, Nermin, that with those young guys playing with those legends on court, you still don't know what's going on.
This is for the best interest of us as viewers. Yes. But, the equation is not balanced. It's not anymore to know that, for example, Djokovic or Murray or whoever is in the top 10 is going to meet with a youngster or an amateur or whatever, that this means that the big name is going to win. It's not this way at all now. Do you think that the big names are thinking the same way?
Yes, I think so.
Or in a way, at least?
From my point of view, I think so, because even for them, every single match is very important. When they go on court, you will see that this fever at the beginning of the match, that, okay, when the guy maybe reach 4 or 5 love in the first set, then they get a bit more relaxed. But in the beginning of the match, you find even number one of the world when he's playing, that he's doing really his best to win the match, which what we need in the sport. Like if the best coming from X, the best coming from Y, and then we get the best to watch the match.
And because of this, I said that we are the winners here.
Yeah, exactly.
Regarding tennis, it was dominated by Europe for such a long time, or Europe and America, let's say so. But recently, Kei Nishikori, for example, Lina, for example, they did great to represent the Asian country. Where's Africa? Or is it normal? And tell you something, I was reading about, unfortunately I was only reading about a tournament in Abuja, and those who reached the final were all Egyptian. I think they were the Ma'moons, and a third, the Ma'moons, they are 2 brothers, and a third, Muhammad Safwat. And I don't know why there was no propaganda, there was nothing said about them, as if the Africans, whenever they are playing tennis, they are of a 2nd or a 3rd degree.
Well, first of all, the answer to your first question about Africa, I think that my opinion, I've been around the world, many places, I've seen many players, many projects are being done in different countries. But as you mentioned, those projects in Asia, in China, Japan, Korea, now you see those players that they were playing juniors 5-6 years ago, and our juniors in Egypt, they were maybe at the same level or even better. But you know, we, as maybe I've said before in your show, what we are missing is that, okay, we have like the player plays tennis well, but we don't know the way to convert to make him a tennis player. You know, like professional tennis players knows what I should do here, what I should do there, to make the schedule for him. I mean, the program for the year, which tournament I'm going to play, which surface I'm going to play. All this
surface issue we are going to discuss. I mean, because I've not mentioned this, or I've not discussed this with you the last time, but today I had in mind that I should know what's the difference. I mean, clay court, there's the kings and queens of clay and kings and queens of grass, and I don't know what's that much difference between them and what's better for us. I mean, there are some technicalities which we do not take care of, while they can be a reason of achieving a title.
Well, the surface. It's really a very effective factor in the game of the player. But because you know the speed of the ball is different from one surface to the other, the way of moving, the movements of the player, the footwork from one surface is different to the other, and that makes one player is very good on grass, but maybe on clay not, and the other way around. So this is about the surface. Going back to the question about the propaganda, I mean, this is one of the points that I wish one day, maybe we were talking just before we started the episode, that our media, they really need to be more involved in the other game but football. You know, it's very important that we support those young players that which is, well, I can see now that it's in squash, but we started doing this when the players, they reach top 10. No, you need to start this before, you know. It's not when the guy in the middle of the glory and then, okay, I put the spotlight. No, I need the guy when he started first, when he shows that, okay, I'm a good player, maybe I can do it, then you need to put the spot on them, support them, and follow them with the spot till they reach the top. But here, the problem, I think, that we are waiting for the players to show that they are on the top, and then we started even. Sometimes we don't. But
you know, Ahmed, why I think, in my humble opinion, because the viewers, maybe they do not understand the other games. I mean, for example, we do have 120-something players already booked their tickets to Rio de Janeiro. Among them, there is, of course, Ihab Abdurrahman, and he is a javelin player. We do have judo. We do have many athletes. We do have, I mean, badminton even. We do, of course, the modern pentathlon. But you know, the viewers do not understand the rules even of this game, of these games.
This is the role of the media.
I mean, should we first introduce the game and introduce to our viewers the history of this game when it comes to Egypt, and then moving from the history to the present to the future, or what?
Well, I think not all the people here in Egypt, they know maybe about swimming. But when we have a swimming tournament on TV, and then we're having someone who's explaining what's going on in the game, and what about the history of that player, what's the way that they make this kind of swim, or if we're talking about water polo, or talking about handball, about other games, you need to explain the game to the people first, and then you will make it exciting for them. And in that moment, we can show our players. We have many good players.
You know, Ahmed, I think also that it unfortunately it depends on a one-man show, the charisma of one person. In tennis and in Egypt, it was Adel Sharif.
Yeah.
In basketball and in the Olympic Games, it was Riyad Sharar, if you remember.
Yeah.
The great names we are talking about. We are talking about important, very important Egyptian media persons who were that keen to introduce other games rather than football to the Egyptians, not only to the Egyptians, to the Arabs in general. But now, with all the satellites, with all the media channels, unfortunately, we do not. I don't know. Is it only also our problem that we don't have those charismatic figures?
Well, it's not only this. Well, this is for sure. This is an important reason, but it's not only this. The point. Well, let me be really very honest on this. Look how many hours we have on TV on the different channels for sports shows, and how many minutes from those sports shows that we are talking about games and we are talking about the sport, other than arguments about the president of that club said this about this club, or that player, he said this about his coach. We're not really keen to show the games, and I think this is the responsibility of.
Well, this is worldwide, Ahmed. I mean, every single person who was interested in football for once had nothing to talk about in the past 9 months, except about Blatter, about Michel Platini, about the scandals of FIFA. But this does not mean that we are not interested in football. I mean, both can go hand in hand, parallel.
No, but the balance.
The balance.
They have this which attract the audience for some times, but at the same time they have. If you, for example, if you're in France, and at the time of the Tour de France, the biking competition, it's amazing. It's 11-12 hours, the whole day you're watching this. It's not only this, you're watching the nice sightseeing in France, fascinating scenes for the mountains.
There are lessons learned.
They are teaching people how what's the rules of this, why this player is better than this.
For example, as we are speaking about cycling and climbers, Kruijswijk continued the 19th stage with a fractured rib.
Yeah.
I don't know how he's doing this, but this would lead us to meldonium and to doping. And as we do have an expert in tennis, doping is a story. how do you think that this is going to end? And I'm not going to mention names.
Well, tennis is like any other sport. It's like everybody in tennis, the players themselves, they are keen to have a clean and white sport from those who are using those kind of substances to whatever, like.
I mean, do you think that they were innocent doing this? I mean, is it their own fault, or the nutritionists' fault, or the WADA agency's fault because they do not update in time? I mean, the players with the new substances to be added to the banned list. Which fault is this?
I think the doping authority, they are very clear on the substance that they shouldn't be used. And each player in tennis, I'm sure that they have a team who are aware of this and they know about it. I hope myself, like the others, that the players are innocent and they don't do this on purpose. But if it I don't really know, like, because I'm sure it's different from one case to
the
another.
other.
But
for example, as we are in the Olympic year, and a lot of vaccines are going to be taking into consideration, Djokovic himself had a statement recently saying that he is that much worried about the Zika issue and about the WHO, that they should take into consideration that if the Zika issue is that much danger, then they should whether delay the Olympics or move it from Brazil to another place.
Well, I'm very much trusting the administration of the Olympics and also the international federations, that they are very careful about their players, and I'm sure that they wouldn't make their players to face the situation that there will be something harmful for them. So I'm sure if there is anything, we're getting like alerts and reports about securities and viruses and all this
issues.
Stuff. Yeah. So I'm sure that we are in good hand in that. And I'm like billions around the world. I'm really very much looking forward to participating in Rio.
In Rio.
And yes, I wish that it will be nothing concerning this.
Was it a surprise for you that Russia included Sharapova in their team participating in Rio, or normal?
Well, I really have no comments on.
No comments. I mean, is it a right decision from Russia to do so, or you cannot even answer that?
No, I can't answer.
Okay, great. Maria Sharapova, well, I'm going to say this, one of the best. I should say one of the most beautiful, also to be accurate, and a Russian figure in tennis, and she was included into this list of those who were exposed to the sanctions from WADA because of this meldonium substance. But Russia included Sharapova to participate in Rio among the Russian team. Tomorrow is another day, and we are going to know what's going to happen with WADA, because there is such disputes between WADA and Russia in specific, and Kenya here in the Black Continent around this doping issue. have mentioned Kenya. Kenya amended the law of doping to cope with the story. What's going on? I mean, do you think that this is the right decision and the right timing, or this was something which was that much late?
Well, I think any nation can have their law like the way that that they see it, or the way that they see it's good for their athletes, and but at the end it should be included in the international law about this, so they cannot be outside of the box. Otherwise, it's you know, that it will not be accepted, will affect their participations in the international events.
Yeah, Ahmed, while you were talking, you have mentioned squash, and I do have a surprise for you here. We do have Omnaya Abdelawi, we do have Ranim El-Walili, and on top we do have also Noor Sherbini. We were with them when Noor was honored by many of her fans, as she is, as you sure know, now #1 on the world ranking. Squash. Noor, we are very much delighted to have you with us. Congratulations. Of course, you've been honored by many institutions, but to be honored by the Egyptian Squash Federation, this has another taste.
Yes, definitely. Yes, it's been an honor to be here. I'm really happy that everyone's coming and they're happy with what I achieved, and like I'm really happy that I made Egypt proud, and everyone was happy from this tournament. But hopefully I'm gonna keep the same way and make them more proud.
One more question. The trip to Malaysia was not that easy, and you were going to face Nicole David in her homeland, and right after that it was Laura Massaro. Would you just briefly tell me about the atmosphere of being there, and how have you achieved it?
Well, yes, definitely it wasn't the easiest tournament ever. It was the biggest tournament in the year, and everyone is really prepared, and I was going there and I know I was good and in good shape and ready for the tournament, and playing Nicole there in her hometown, and everyone was after her, so it was one of the hardest match for me, but I'm really glad that I'm through from this match, and after it in the semis was really hard, and even in the final, as you always know, it was really hard for me mentally and physically, but I'm really glad that I did this win, and it's one of the remarkable win in my career, and I'm never gonna forget it.
Noor, #1, thank you very much, and congratulations once again.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Down 11-6, game to Massaro. Massaro leads 1 game to love. Got up. 10-4, game ball. Don't let. Time.
يلا يلا
Down. 11-3, game Sweeney. Star release 2 games to 1. Out. 11-5, game Sweeney, 2 games all.
With another beauty of squash, our Ranim Al-Walili. Ranim, thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure.
You are here to congratulate Noor after being on top, after being number one, and she's only 20 years old, and you were there behind her also in Malaysia. So what was the atmosphere of the game, of the match, especially as Noor came from behind after it was too rough?
Yeah, well, definitely it was a great match, a huge comeback for her. She played really well, extremely well. We have to admit that after 2-love, we all thought that Noor is not going to make it, but we were at the end. We were very, very happy, extremely happy that she won against the English player Laura Massaro, who's the higher seed. And finally, we have an Egyptian world champion. Yeah, it's the first time.
Not first time to be number one. We do have a former number one. Ranim, you were the one who opened the gate for others, and inshallah it's going to continue this way. But let me know about your opinion or your point of view about Noor after and before Amr Shaban. Because as far as I understand that Noor not only became different, became more stubborn. And in the in-between after this 2-love issue, I don't know what Shabana did to push Noor to come from behind.
Yeah, well, he's definitely Amr Shabana is a legend. Of course, we all love him and we all appreciate having him with us in the tournaments between the games. He really has great advice and he helps us all the way through. So yeah, I'm pretty sure he made a huge difference. I wasn't there to know what he told her, but I'm sure he made a huge difference on calming her down and pushing her to get it back.
But you were watching her and she was smiling. Then you told Omneya, oh, she's smiling to us. Then it's great. Then she's going to do it.
Exactly. Yeah, well, a smile is always a positive sign, and we're happy that she managed to win at the end. Shabana is great, but I'm pretty sure he's not the only factor at this point. Like Noor, of course, did most of the work on court, and her other coaches as well, did a great job.
We are very much delighted to have with us one of the beauties of Egyptian squash, Omneya Abdelawi. Omneya, thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you so much.
And we are here to say congratulations to Noor. Have you expected that she is going to reach this?
Noor has been in form, in fantastic form. She played 4 tournaments this year. She won 3 and she lost in the final from Ranim in the last one. So it was expected that she's the one who's gonna win this tournament. So I'm really happy for her and that she could achieve a historic victory like this.
But to be 2-love first and then to come from behind to clinch the title, this was, it was on our nerves. And I don't know if this was a coincidence or no, because this is exactly also what happened with the Shourbagi in El Gouna. Yeah. How have you seen this from a panoramic view?
Actually, Noor is a relaxed player. So in the beginning of the match, she was so tensed, too much pressure on her. She really wanted to win, and that's when she plays not her game, and she makes a lot of unforced errors. After the second, I guess Amr Shabana told her. I don't think he told her anything in squash, but to make her loose and relax. So maybe he made a joke or something, and I think it was obvious that she was laughing, and then when she was coming into the court, she was smiling at us, and Ronim was telling me, Noor is smiling. I was like, yeah, that's good. She's gonna win if she keep on smiling, and that's what the main key for her of winning.
You were there, so I'd like to know more about the atmosphere of the tournament, because it was in Malaysia, meaning that Nicole David was that much also relaxed and among her home crowd. So was that to be put into consideration before going into a match with Nicole, and Nicole is also a legend of squash, or you should just focus on what you are going to do in the glass court without thinking about your rival?
Actually, everyone is thinking about winning the tournament, of course, but it's going step by step, match by match. Noor, she played Noor in the quarters, and I think Noor beat her the last 3 times, 3-love, so she was above her mentally, and she played really well that day. So I guess we just go inside the court thinking about the match, and yes, exactly.
Omne, thank you very much for being with us on Nile TV International.
Thank you so much.
We are very much delighted to have with us Mr. Mohammed Al-Manshawi, Vice President of the World Squash Federation. Thank you very much for being with us, sir.
Hello.
Congratulations not only to you, to all Egyptians, but have you expected that Noor is going to achieve this when she's only at the age of 20?
Actually, Noor, she has a very good history in squash. She was the world junior champion for the last 3 years. And she's one of the top 5 players in the world at the senior level, at the women's senior level. And we were expecting to reach the final, to be honest with you. But we didn't expect to win the final. The final was a very close match. She was 2-love down with Laura Massaro. Laura Massaro at that time was number 1 in the world. So actually I was watching the match after 2-love down to Noor. I didn't expect that Noor will come back. But when the head coach of the national team talked to her and encouraged her, the game changed dramatically, and she won. And we are all here to celebrate the achievement and the success of Noor Sherbini being the world champion and being now number 1 in the world.
Number 1 for the very first time, to have an Egyptian to be number 1 on the female. No, Ranim Al-Walidi did it before. But before that, and before Laura Massaro, she was also in such a rivalry with Nicole David on her home soil. So this was another challenge.
That was another challenge, but if you were following Noor Sherbini matches against Nicole, especially the last 3 or 4 matches, Noor was winning all the time. Most of the matches, the last 3 times before they met in the World Championship, was 3-love. So I was expecting, the difficulty of the match was that Nicole was playing in her country, in front of her fans, her own crowd, and the match was very tough. Nicole started very well. She won the first game, and then Noor came back very strongly, and she played amazing match in the semi-final, and she deserved to be the world champion.
Yeah. As I said, Noor is only 20. So she has, inshallah, a long trip long way to go in squash. Your expectations for Noor, I mean, is she going to keep going forward and to keep on number one? And this is my question, is she up to this challenge or?
She is up to this challenge. She's only 20. She's world number one. She's a world champion. She has all her career to beat all the records of Nicole David. You know, Nicole David was the world champion for the last 7-8 years. She was number one in the world for another 8 years. So there are a lot of challenges to be beaten by Noor. And if she keep training the same way just that she's training now and keep the same aggression in her matches, I believe I'm expecting for Noor, at least for the next 5-6 years, the only competition would be from the other Egyptian women's as well.
Noor Tayyib, Ranim, you have such a generation. One final question, sir. I know as you are occupying an international position in the squash, of course, you are to be asked all the time about why Egyptians are all the time on top, whether males or females. What's the secret? What's the answer if you have one?
The secret is we do have a system in the squash federation in Egypt actually, and the system was done maybe 15-20 years ago, and we all, I was the president of Egyptian squash 15 years ago, and we keep on, every coming president keep on the same work and keep on the same plan. So that's why we are achieving. We have the vision, we have the goal, and we have all the. We have the players, we have referees, we have good coaches, we have all the elements that can make us leading the sport and dominating the sport, and not only squash, and hope this will be repeated in other sports as well in Egypt.
Well, Ahmed, thank you very much for being with us. I wish that you are going to be our guest once again in a score sheet. Happy Ramadan.
Thank you very much, Nermeen, and I think it's. I will be very happy to be again in your show. It's really an honor, and I hope that we could give some good time to the audience in Ramadan, and Ramadan Kareem to everyone.
Ramadan Kareem. Well, by this we come to the end of this special episode of Score Sheet. Till we meet again, same time on Nile TV International. On behalf of Dr. Muhammad Rabia, Amr Fathallah, our Studio 35, and myself, Nermeen Abdurrahman, many thanks for watching. Assalamu alaikum and Ramadan Kareem.